Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today we're gonna go on with chapter 5, Increasing Life, or as I titled the video, Increasing Your Life, because that's what we're after. We want to improve and expand everything that we're experiencing while we're going through this physical life of ours. We don't want to live a limited life, we want to live a free and fulfilled life. Now, in order to increase our lives, before I start the chapter, I wanted to briefly hint at you that we have to grasp for ourselves that we have mental faculties. Now, a book that I wrote called The Miracle of Wanted goes over these faculties and how I think we should use them in order to get the best results we want out of our lives and in our lives. But these faculties, I will briefly mention them now. We have a perception, we have a memory, we have intuition, we have a reasoning faculty, we have imagination, and we have willpower. Now, the most important two faculties that we want to understand is our imagination and our willpower, because through the imagination you become aware of the dreams you want to realize, and then by using our willpower we want to keep ourselves focused on that dream so that it can express itself with and through us. Wallace actually wrote 2 chapters about willpower that we're going to get into in the near future, so that you may understand better how to use it while working on your dreams. But those faculties that I just mentioned are stuff that you want to consider for yourself, what they actually mean and how you can use them to your advantage. And if you want, you can always check out my book, The Miracle of Wanting. I have the whole audiobook on a playlist on this channel. It's entirely for free. You can just go over it as well if you want. Now let's get started with the first paragraph of this chapter. Wallace wrote, "You must get rid of the last vestige of the old idea that there is a deity whose will it is that you should be poor, or whose purposes may be served by keeping you in poverty. The intelligent substance which is all and in all, and which lives in all and lives in you, is a consciously living substance. Being a consciously living substance, it must have the nature and inherent desire of every living intelligence for increase of life. Every living thing must continually seek for the enlargement of its life, because life in the mere act of living must increase itself. A seed dropped into the ground brings into activity, and in the act of living produces 100 more seeds. Life by living multiplies itself. It is forever becoming more. It must do so if it continues to be at all. Intelligence is under the same necessity for continuous increase. Every thought we think makes it necessary for us to think another thought. Consciousness is continually expanding. Every fact we learn leads us to the learning of another fact. Knowledge is continually increasing. Every talent we cultivate brings to the mind the desire to cultivate another talent. We are subject to the urge of life, seeking expression, whichever drives us on to know more, to do more, and to be more. In order to know more, do more, and be more, we must have more. We must have things to use, for we learn and do and become only by using things. We must get rich so that we can live more. The desire for riches is simply the capacity for larger life-seeking fulfillment. Every desire is the effort of an unexpressed possibility to come into action. It is power seeking to manifest which causes desire. That which makes you want more money is the same as that which makes the plant grow. It is life seeking fuller expression. The one living substance must be subject to this inherent law of all life. It is permeated with the desire to live more. This is why it is under the necessity of creating things. The one substance desires to live more in you. Hence it wants you to have all the things you can use. It is the desire of God that you should get rich. He wants you to get rich because he can express himself better through you if you have plenty of things to use in giving him expression. He can live more in you if you have unlimited command of the means of life. The universe desires you to have everything you want to have. Nature is friendly to your plans. Everything is naturally for you. Make up your mind that this is true." Now, this is a pretty big request that he's making. I mean, the average person at first might have some trouble to really accept that nature is friendly to their plans, that everything is naturally for them. So in order to make up your mind that this is true, we have to burn into our minds the oneness and unity of life. That we know that if we can imagine something, we're already connected to the good that we desire. That wealth, that success, that happiness that you can see in your imagination is already part of your soul itself the moment you can comprehend it inside your consciousness. And the more you realize this, the more you understand that all these powers that are working in your favor clearly indicate that nature is truly friendly to your plans, that everything is indeed naturally for you. So in the end, we have to demand abundance and success of ourselves. We're going to fill ourselves from within fully with all the goodness that we desire, so that nature, the universe, can help us manifest it. Wallace went on to say that it is essential, however, that your purpose should harmonize with the purpose that is in all. You must want real life, not mere pleasure of sensual gratification. Life is the performance of function, and the individual really lives only when he performs every function, physical, mental and spiritual, of which he is capable, without excess in any. You do not want to get rich in order to live swinishly for the gratification of animal desires. That is not life, but the performance of every physical function is a part of life, and no one lives completely who denies the impulses of the body a normal and healthful expression. You do not want to get rich solely to enjoy mental pleasures, to get knowledge, to gratify ambition, to outshine others, to be famous. All these are a legitimate part of life, but the man who lives for the pleasures of the intellect alone will only have a partial life, and he will never be satisfied with his lot. You do not want to get rich solely for the good of others, to lose yourself for the salvation of mankind, to experience the joys of philanthropy and sacrifice. The joys of the soul are only a part of life, and they are no better or nobler than any other part. You want to get rich in order that you may eat, drink and be merry when it is time to do these things, in order that you may surround yourself with beautiful things, see distant lands, feed your mind, and develop your intellect, in order that you may love man and do kind things, and be able to play a good part in helping the world to find truth. So again, a reminder, in order to live like this and to avoid falling into the traps that he just mentioned, we always have to keep in mind that we want to live through the mental faculties, because that is how we can increase our lives in whatsoever direction we want. So you want to live a good life physically, mentally and spiritually. And you're going to have to use those faculties we mentioned in the beginning in order to make your life a reflection of perfection as you can comprehend it for yourself. Wallace did say that we have to remember that extreme altruism is no better or nobler than extreme selfishness. Both are mistakes. Get rid of the idea that God wants you to sacrifice yourself for others, and that you can secure his favor by doing so. God requires nothing of the kind. What he wants is that you should make the most of yourself, for yourself and for others. And you can help others more by making the most of yourself than in any other way. You can make the most of yourself only by getting rich. So it is right and praiseworthy that you should give your first and best thought to the work of acquiring wealth. Remember, however, that the desire of substance is for all, and its movements must be for more life to all. It cannot be made to work for less life to any, because it is equally in all seeking riches and life. Intelligent substance will make things for you, but it will not take things away from someone else and give them to you. You must get rid of the thought of competition. You are to create, not to compete for what is already created. This is so important all over again. You are to create and not compete for what is already created. How do you start creating? By building visions through your imagination of what you desire and then acting upon those visions. Then you're automatically in a process of creation. And that's how you want to really live. That's how you can create better opportunities. That's how you will increase the quality of your life. You do not have to take anything away from anyone. You do not have to drive sharp bargains. You do not have to cheat or to take advantage. You do not need to let any man work for you for less than he earns. You do not have to covet the property of others or to look at it with wishful eyes. No man has anything of which you cannot have the like, and that without taking what he has away from him. You are to become a creator, not a competitor. You are going to get what you want, but in such a way that when you get it, every other man will have more than he has now. This is very important to contemplate for each one of us on an individual basis. Ask yourself, are you involved in a process of creation? If you have a dream, if you want to be a writer, are you writing the book? If you want to build your own business, are you working on actually building the business? If you want to be a musician, are you actually involved in producing music? On and on it goes. People have all these dreams, but then they're still looking at it from a point of competition. They think because others are successful, it's going to be hard for them to break through. We want to get rid of all that stuff. Instead, we want to zoom in completely on, if I can just create what I'm passionate about in my own unique way, then I have something to share with the world that can then create success and an impact in other people's lives on its own. So you're never in competition with anyone. Literally. Never. Now Wallace went on to say, I am aware that there are men who get a vast amount of money by proceeding in direct opposition to the statement in the paragraph above, and may add a word of explanation here. Men of the plutocratic type who become very rich do so sometimes purely by their extraordinary ability on the plane of competition, and sometimes they unconsciously relate themselves to substance in its great purposes and movements for the general racial upbuilding through industrial evolution. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Morgan, and others have been the unconscious agents of the Supreme in the necessary work of systemizing and organizing productive industry, and in the end their work will contribute immensely toward increased life for all. Their day is nearly over. They have organized production and will soon be succeeded by the agents of the multitude, who will organize the machinery of distribution. The multimillionaires are like the monster reptiles of the prehistoric eras. They play a necessary part in the evolutionary process, but the same power which produced them will dispose of them, and it is well to bear in mind that they have never been really rich. A record of the private lives of most of this class will show that they have really been the most abject and wretched of the poor. Riches secured on the competitive plane are never satisfactory and permanent. They are yours today and another's tomorrow. Remember, if you are to become rich in a scientific and certain way, you must rise entirely out of the competitive thought. You must never think for a moment that the supply is limited. Just as soon as you begin to think that all the money is being cornered and controlled by bankers and others, and that you must exert yourself to get laws passed to stop this process, and so on, in that moment you drop into the competitive mind, and your power to cause creation is gone for the time being, and what is worse, you will probably arrest the creative movements you have already instituted. Know that there are countless millions of dollars worth of gold in the mountains of the earth, not yet brought to light, and know that if there were not, more would be created from thing and substance to supply your needs. Know that the money you need will come, even if it is necessary for 1,000 men to be led to the discovery of new gold mines tomorrow. Never look at the visible supply. Look always at the limitless riches in formless substance, and know that they are coming to you as fast as you can receive and use them. Nobody, by cornering the visible supply, can prevent you from getting what is yours. Now let me add something to that paragraph. You want to literally look at your visions and only focus and think on what you want. That is essentially what this paragraph by Wallace is telling us. You want to focus on your vision. Never look at that visible supply that you see right now. Look always at the limitless riches and formless substance. Well, that's your imagination. You have to ignore present limitations. Keep yourself focused and filled full with your dream, with these great visions of what you want to realize, this excitement, this hope, this passion, all these good feelings that you feel when you know this future would be so beautiful it was realized. I can't let go of it any longer. And then it starts overriding your focus altogether. You're no longer focused on the present limitations. You're purely and consistently focused on the formless substance of imagination and how you can let it move with and through you and cause new results to take place in your world. This is again all that we actually are called upon to do. So Wallace went on to say, Never allow yourself to think for an instant that all the best building spots will be taken before you get ready to build your house, unless you hurry. Never worry about the trusts and combines, and get anxious for fear they will soon come to own the whole earth. Never get afraid that you will lose what you want because some other person beats you to it. That cannot possibly happen. You are not seeking anything that is possessed by anybody else. You are causing what you want to be created from formless substance, and the supply is without limits. Stick to the formulated statement. There's a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. Now that is the end of chapter 5. Before we stop it, let me remind you again that the mental images you build through your imagination determine the increase of your life. It is the mental images that you build through which you can start increasing the quality of your life. That is the big secret behind all of this. And it's something that has to dawn upon anyone if they really want to use this material in order to make some awesome things happen for themselves. Since this chapter was pretty straightforward without deep metaphysical terms, there wasn't a lot that I could add to it, so I hope it all made sense for you. If not, listen to it a couple of times so you hopefully gain a better understanding, because repetition is of course how we learn about something. We repeat these ideas over and over again. It's what I've been doing for the last 12 years. And then it becomes such a deep, strong part of your whole attitude in life that it becomes impossible not to achieve more and more of your dreams at that point. Now, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.